can't even chew meat, bro. Can't even chew meat properly. But let me not make fun of people that don't have teeth. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Mandolin Baez here, and you're listening to, or you're probably watching, Bay with a Z podcast. I'm a little under the weather, so I couldn't hit that note quite well. But yeah, I have such an awesome dude in today, coming in from Los Angeles through Zoom because I can't afford a plane ticket for him. But he's here on Zoom. He's the producer and the founder of TVHi. Welcome, Jeff Howard.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Oh my God, I'm just so happy to have someone cool on here. I mean, I always have cool people on here, but I'm like, it's been a while since I've had an episode, and I'm just so glad to revive Bay with a Z with you. So thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to meet with me out in LA. Yeah, what have you been up to? Tell me a little bit about you. What's up, Jeff?
Oh, I just took the red eye home like 2 nights ago.
Oh my God, from
I
where?
flew to glamorous Detroit, Michigan for 2 nights because I'm one of those uncles who I will not miss a fucking graduation. So my nephew graduated high school. So
Oh, nice.
I was like, I'm not
Congratulations,
gonna
nephew.
miss it. So yeah, that's actually when you say what's been up. I actually, even though there's a film festival that I'm programming in 2 weeks, I'm like, forget it. I'm flying back there and being there for the guy.
I love that.
So
You're a
good
good
time.
uncle. You're a good uncle. Are you from Detroit, Michigan, or are they just living out
I am
there?
not. I'm actually third generation Los Angeles, if you can believe that. My
Shit.
grandparents come from actually LA and San Francisco of all things. So I used to
Wow.
joke that my family's been around as long as the Chumash natives of the Los Angeles basin, but I don't say
Wow.
that. I just said it, so I do still say that.
You do say that. I mean, they've definitely been around the time, the Titanic happened and all that jazz.
I know.
That
I actually have a killer. You want to hear my killer great grandfather story?
Yes, no, let's hear it.
So my great grandparents escaped in the late 1890s from Tsarist Russia
Wow.
because he was killing Jews. I'm a non-religious Jew,
Uh-huh.
and which I'm sure in New York you know plenty of those.
Oh yeah,
And
there's loads. Yeah.
yeah, and so they both escaped Eastern Europe, Tsarist Russia, and they met in Toronto, Canada, because they couldn't get in into the Statue of Liberty right at Staten Island, and they met. A couple days later, they got married. Then they hopped on a train to California, and they arrive in California, in Los Angeles, and they're getting off the train. And there's like a really small community here, so they're greeting the new batch of Jews off the train from
Yeah.
Europe. And someone just throws an apple at my great grandfather, and he catches it, and then he looks at his new bride and goes, "What do I do with this? I've never seen one of these before."
Oh my
And so,
God.
and then someone near them said, "It's food. Bite it." And they bit into it, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is delicious." But like, he caught an apple, like someone threw an apple to greet him to California, and he's like, "I don't know what this is."
What a, what a greeting. Just throw
What
an
do
apple at you.
I know? I love the idea that he knew how to make shoes, but he didn't know what an apple was.
Right. Oh my God, that's so crazy. That's a cool story. And I love back in the day, I swear to God, they just get married 2 seconds once they know each other. Like, okay, you're hot, I'm hot. You seem
Yeah,
like you have a great personality. Back then there was no swiping. It was like a done deal. You see him once, you don't know if you're ever going to see him again. So you kind of
yeah.
have to lock and
Of course,
load.
when your life expectancy was like 45, 50, it wasn't
Yeah.
as big a commitment.
Right. No, exactly. Or even 30s back in those time periods. Oh my God. Yeah, I
Oh my
don't know
God,
how I would.
especially. Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a different time then. I don't know how I do. I think I'm Puerto Rican, so I think I would have ended up in a sugarcane field somewhere. I don't know if I. No, maybe I would have been in Ellis Island. Who knows? I don't know. I'm here now though. I think I'm doing just fine in 2023 right now. Um,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
but I love that's super cool. Third generation Los Angeles. I was actually in LA for the first time last year, and I flew back like another 3 times. I was there for an event. I think Los Angeles is gorgeous. It kind of scares me though that every day is perfect. A little scary for me. I love the rain. I love the different weather we have here. LA is just every day is beautiful, and I'm like, oh God, no, I need something to cancel my plans. I need, you know what I mean? Every
I mean, we have our weak ass seasons. Like, I know everyone makes fun of us, but like, when it's under 65 degrees, we're cold.
Oh yeah, no.
That's our version of like, oh my God, I need a jacket. But I've spent a lot of time in New York. In fact, I used to one of my past lives, I worked in the toy industry doing movie licensing for toys. So I would go to Toy Fair New York, which was like the second week of January every year.
Oh
And like,
God.
when you're in New York for a week and like it's below freezing for 3 days, that day that it hits 40 degrees, you're like, man, I'm unzipping my jacket. Like, this is
Right.
warm. It's
Yeah.
it's wild how quickly you acclimate to the weather.
It's definitely bipolar over here. It's like 85 degrees, and then once it hits 8:30 p.m., it's almost at like 50, 45, and you're like, "Holy shit, like I was just wearing a tube top. Now I need a whole hoodie."
For sure. But
But
New York,
yeah.
I mean, by the I'm a huge fan of your town. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the nice things about being from LA is we don't have a chip on our shoulder. Like, we love San Francisco, we love New York, I love Chicago. I actually love Atlanta. I love almost everywhere I've been in this country. Whereas, you meet someone from Boston and like someone from Boston's like, fuck New York, fuck LA. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it's a different
we're really
vibe.
rugged. We're kind of, we could be a bit haterish. We can, we always got to talk shit about something. But I agree. Every city, I mean, I haven't been in every city in this country. I mean, I've been to Atlanta, been to LA, been to San Francisco, Boston. But I can agree, like this country itself, besides the politics, everything, the land itself is really beautiful. Like everywhere is so different. Going to Arizona, see all this cacti, then you're in Maine, it's all this greenery and black bears and shit, and it's just all these different, yeah, no, it's really beautiful around here. I'd love to travel to each state. Maybe not Idaho. I don't know. Is it worth is it worth going out there? Maybe.
You want to
I
hear my you want to hear my Idaho story?
yeah, let's
I
hear
have an
it.
Idaho story, which makes no sense, but my older brother grew up in. He's one of those weirdos.
Oh my
He
God.
also third generation LA, of course, but he only wanted to work in the auto industry. So when he got a job at Ford, we hopped in a car and I drove with him from LA to Detroit.
Uh-huh.
And as we were going through Idaho, I was going about 80 miles an hour or something, and I got pulled over by the Idaho Highway Patrol.
Oh my God.
And not to be okay, I'm about to be a real dick, but so a dude, a highway patrolman in Idaho with like about maybe 2 teeth, leans his head in the window and talks shit to us for having a California plate. And then he's like, well, and he said, well, the fine for your ticket is $55. You can pay cash now, or you can show up 2 weeks from now at court.
What a
So we gave
dick.
him the cash. And would you believe nothing ever hit my record? Like, I never even got anything in the mail. I think we just basically, he asked for a bribe.
Yeah, he bribed you guys. He didn't even
Yeah.
give you guys anything. What a dick.
But I got a kick out of the fact that I don't know, he acted official, and I was like,
I'm like, dude, you can't even chew meat, bro. Can't even chew meat properly. But let me not make fun of people that don't have teeth. Back in those days, it was they didn't really. I mean, what year was that? Would you say like? I feel like you're
oh man,
speaking the
that was
90s.
1989.
Oh, eight. Okay, late 80s. Okay, yeah, wasn't that?
It
When you think
was
about it, it's not that long ago, but yeah.
it's a failure of our healthcare system that he had terrible teeth,
Oh,
right?
no, absolutely. Oh my God. Teeth. I feel like anything with the teeth or even the feet. I
By
don't
the
know
way,
if
you
you
have
ever.
perfect teeth. I'm looking at it.
Thanks. I never had braces in my life. Yesterday we were talking about this. Someone brought it up. They're like, "You have really good teeth. You ever have braces?" I'm like, "Fuck no. I never." Thank God. I think the universe, God, whatever you guys believe in, thought, Amanda's hard-headed. I feel like if I had train track of teeth, like fucked up teeth, I don't think I would have done anything about it. I'm too lazy, and it's just a lot going on. I mean, I go to the dentist. Let me not act like I don't, but it's I'm grateful that my teeth weren't messed up. But Yeah, God, healthcare. Don't even get me falling down
No,
that
no, I
rabbit
shouldn't. I
hole.
shouldn't even use those words. We're supposed to talk about fun shit.
We're gonna, yeah. I'm like, oh God, everywhere else is free but us. But like, yeah, no, no, let's not be sad about this freaking hot hellhole capitalistic scape hell. Let me stop. Hellscape. Okay. Anyway, God, this is the 38th episode of Bay with the Z podcast. This has been going on since 2020 when this was the only comedy outlet I really had. I had great people coming on here, and you're one of the first people I have, I guess, like film wise, like in the live streaming industry. Can you tell me a little? I want to dive into what made you pursue, because I know you said you were creative in the past. I mean, not saying this isn't creative, but it's definitely more of a business esque or more logistics type of deal. If you could just go into that, I'd love to know about it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, the quick version is, as a young person, and I'm pretty fucking old, but
You look
but
young. Do you have kids? Are you married? Are you?
I'm married with
Okay.
a almost 16-year-old stepdaughter who I've been part of her life since she was 5. So
Wow.
I
I
think
was
that
gonna
pretty much
say,
counts.
in most film people I meet, like when I've worked on set, a lot of them would be 45, 55, and they looked young as shit, like in their 30s. And I'm like, and they're like, you know what the secret is? Don't have kids and don't get married. And I'm like, God, your life sounds a little sad though. But I mean, hey, make that money and look young forever.
I'm pro marriage, I'm pro kid, I'm also pro being single, whatever makes people happy.
Right. We're all
Yeah.
our own little story. We're all on our own journey, right?
For sure. But oh wait, so my story is, I was on the creative side of things. I didn't really dig it. I might have been talented. I think it's fair to say I had a little bit of talent. I had absolutely no, I was just like a stubborn motherfucker. So I was like, I thought the world should be a perfect place, and like talent should rise to the top and it shouldn't be about who you know. So obviously I didn't get where I needed to go.
Right. You didn't
And
follow
I
the
walked away from
Hollywood
it,
Bible.
and I stayed away from it for a while, and I worked actually in toy licensing, movie licensing for toys. I like transitioned into that side of the business.
Wow.
And then like 10 plus years ago, the opportunity to start a film festival popped up, because I'd always loved indie film. Like I just love the independent stuff, the stuff that's made by people who really care about it, instead of, there's a
Just for
great
the
Hollywood
money.
studio, right? There's great studio movies, but you know that they sat down, a group of people in a boardroom sat down and said, well, we own the Top Gun IP, so let's approach Tom about making another one of those, because let's maximize the value of this asset we own. Like that's
Right.
not
Yeah.
creativity.
No.
So I love creativity. I love creative people. So the film festival thing started, and it was great. If I fell right in love with it all over again, and it was kind of a cool position to be in, because I no longer had my own artistic goals.
Hmm.
I just served the role of being supportive of people. Like, to me, they're young. I mean, most of them actually could be my kids.
Like young filmmakers. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 35. If you're 35 or less, like I could have fathered you. So anyhow, and Lord knows I was really trying to back then. So anyway,
Wow.
but we so and I just when I was young and on the film festival circuit, I had 2 feature films in my 20s,
Hmm.
and I met some really lovely people and some really awful people. So I was like, the awful people really guided me. I'm like, I'm not going to be the kind of film festival programmer who like makes people feel bad or acts like I'm hot shit and you have to impress me. Like, I am really there because the jury loved your film. I love your
Yeah.
film. I want you to know how great it is, and I want to do anything I can to support you and make you feel appreciated.
I
So that's
love
our
that.
vibe. And actually, and the way TVHi came about is, if you can't tell, I like talking to people. I think conversation kicks ass.
Yeah,
And
I
we
love
would
people
have
talking.
like 15-minute Q&As at the film festival for every film.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, 15 minutes to talk about something that someone spent a year working on? Not enough, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
I started a podcast, And then during this podcast, I found out that like everyone who made a feature film would end up on streaming, and everyone who made a short film would be like on YouTube. So I said to a bunch of people who made short films, do you want to put a bunch of short films together and see about creating the TV series out of it? And of course,
Yeah, that's
25 out of 25 said yes. So we actually got it onto Amazon Prime Video. It's called Discover Indie Film. The name of the podcast is also Discover Indie Film, so it kind of ties together.
Yeah,
And
wow.
there's 7 seasons so far, and it's just like every season is 10 episodes of short films that are like handpicked from the festival circuit.
Oh, that is so dope.
And it's really, oh man, we got up to, oh, this is where I sound bitter, but we got up, we had over, like, is the public interested in independently made films? We got up to 10,000 unique viewers a week.
Wow.
And then Amazon noticed that, and Amazon said, these are our servers. We're happy to have your program on, but instead of it being included with Prime for free, we now want it to be 99 cents an episode or $7.99 a season.
Oh, it's like a subscribe thing, I guess, or
yeah. So it's kind of VOD that way. So it meant instead of 10,000 a week, it's much fewer. But anyhow,
yeah.
so the companies that create the smart TV apps, like they learned, like, I don't know how, honestly, like I said, I don't really think I'm a big shot or anything. So they started reaching out to me and going, we know about your film festivals. We know about your podcast. We know about your TV series. Do you want to do a smart TV app for your Discover Indie Film thing? And I was like, let me think about it. How much?
Yeah.
And they would tell me this number. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not spending that kind of money. I love these films, but oh man, I just never won the lottery. If I won the lottery like 20 years ago, I would waste $100,000 a year like supporting people. But sadly, I didn't. So
it's
the only lottery I won was actually marrying a wonderful person. That was winning the lottery. But because she's actually a patron of the arts, honestly, I would probably be living in my car if it weren't for her, because film festivals don't really pay. But that's another story. So anyhow,
yeah, no, right. So what does your wife do? What is
she actually works for the school district.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love that.
You can believe that.
Wow.
Budgeting and stuff.
Oh, okay. Got it. Good for her.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I feel like you both give back to the community in a way,
true.
You know?
That's true.
So
We're all
awesome.
right. So this company would hit me up. It was Vimeo. Vimeo would hit me up.
Oh, I like
twice a year, asking me if I wanted to do the smart TV app thing for Discover Indie Film, and I always go, "How much money do you want me to lose? Like, forget it." But then, I watched like over 1,500 films a year get submitted to our 2 festivals, and so I see a lot of stuff that I watch, and I'll say to my wife or anyone else who will listen to me, I'll go, that was good, but that movie would have been even better high.
Is that where it all began?
You know what I mean? Like, some things you watch and you're like, I wish I'd been stoned when I watched that one. Like, if it's weird or trippy or visual or just like extra funny or just like super slapsticky, like, honestly, like, you're a comedian, right? Like, I sometimes I watch stand up stoned, and I actually do turn to my wife and go, okay, is that the funniest person alive, or is it because like the edibles have totally kicked in?
That was honestly my next question for you. Are you an edible guy, or are you more flower?
I'm solely edibles because I have horrible lungs from growing up in the LA smog.
Oh, fuck.
Like, I grew up in the 70s when like we had first stage smog alert, like 300 out of 365 days, a couple years or something like that. And I was playing sports out in this horrible air. It's like I couldn't even breathe. So I have bad lungs. So I can't really smoke anything.
Jeez. We just had smog here in New York. And I was terrified. It was yellow and musty, crusty. I was like, I told my boss, because I work in the Upper East Side and I am in Brooklyn. I was like, I'm already in the subway itself is disgusting with the air. I'm like, on top of this yellow air, I'm not. I will not. I refuse. I'll just work here. Like, that was crazy. And I'm like, Californians are not bothered by this because I saw so many people outside.
No,
I'm like,
well,
you're
we're
from
kind
a
of bothered though.
California.
It's how it's so. I know we felt so bad for New. We're seeing those pictures in New York looking like that. Oh, that was awful.
Feel like we were on Mars. It was crazy. It was just a lot. It was so different. I'm like, holy shit, this is a problem. Canada, get
For
your shit
sure.
together. No.
Get it together. Well, it's not their fault.
It's
Climate change isn't really
yeah.
their fault, right? Like,
Right.
fine.
No,
What can we do?
exactly.
Like, and I of course say that reflexively as a Californian, right? Because when people are like, "Why can't California control their wildfires?" I'm like, "Well, why don't you put solar panels up for us, please?" Like we all
Right.
have to, like, you know. But oh, so anyhow, so I was sharing the story. So I would see stuff and I would be like, I wish I watched it high. So a couple of years ago, to celebrate 420, we held an event at the theater where our film festivals take place, and I named this event THC Cinema.
Wow.
And we made it free admission actually, and we filled the theater and just, you were supposed to get high before you came.
Okay,
Take
nice.
an Uber, hopefully be responsible, but
Uh-huh.
because the theater owner was like happy to let people smoke in the like outside the theater, but he didn't want
Yeah.
people smoking inside. Although
Right,
some
right,
people
right.
did, including my wife. But anyway, they
Badass.
and we had this amazing time, just like 100 stone people in a theater enjoying like 15 short films that were perfectly chosen to watch when you're high. Like,
I
so it was like a
love
great
that.
time. So we did 3 of those. And then the last time that Vimeo company called me and said, "Do you want to do a smart TV app?" I'm like, "No." And I hang up. And then an hour or two later, I said, "Well, Discover Indie Film, I don't really think would be great for a smart TV app.
Uh-huh.
But a smart TV app, like a streaming service devoted for stuff to watch when you're high, like THC Cinema, I could see that working."
Got it. And
And
is that when the baby was born?
that was when the baby was born. Like, I kicked it around and I ran it by friends. I would say, "Tell me what you think of this idea." And no one told me it was a bad idea. Everyone was like, "Really? That makes sense."
Right.
Like the shorthand of Netflix for stoners. Yeah, like that checks out. Because like personally, I enjoy all the streaming services that are out there, but and I actually do pretty much do an edible every night. Like I enjoy it, and it helps me sleep. But I gotta say, like, there'll be times when, like, if I'm really in a nice place up here in
Yeah.
La Cabeza, I just like can't find anything I want to watch.
Right. It's like, oh God, like you have to go fucking digging for it, or you forgot the
Got to
name of
dig, and
something.
like Netflix has a comedy section. I'll be like, okay, I'll try this comedy, and I'll
Yeah.
play it, and I'm like, because the funny thing is, things are funnier when you're high, but if they're unfunny,
Yeah.
it's like more annoying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so but and then working with them, we rebranded THC Cinema. That was the original name. They're like, "You don't really want THC in there because then the smart TV apps might want to block you, thinking that you're
Right.
too." So came up with a name, TVHi, and the website is watchtvhi.com, and social media is Watch TVHi, and it's just TVHi, and we launched on 420 this year.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
And it does cost it's $4.20 a month if people subscribe on our website, which is kind of fun.
That's great. $4.20. That's not bad at all. That's doable.
It's not a big ask, right?
Right. No, that's nothing. That's nothing.
For just a good binge.
Right. So I feel like with the live streaming stuff, this wasn't really. I don't want to say it was handed to you, but it was kind of like they were asking you to, like, hey, this is a good idea. You should maybe. You weren't really searching for it.
I assume this is okay to say, but like some higher up people from the salesperson that I was first working with, like, got involved, and they hopped on the Zoom and they were like, "I just want to tell you, like, I love this idea."
Wow. Wow.
It gave me a lot of confidence to like push forward with it. So,
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah.
I love that. What would you say there's any, like, there's pros and cons to everything. What would you say is the cons to having, like, on a live streaming site or on a
Well, it's just
platform?
video streaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only con is that it's a lot of work. Like I love running film festivals because like you work your ass off for like 3 months,
Yeah,
and
like a
you
couple months.
take
Yeah.
like a month or two off, and then you work your ass off for a couple months. Then you, but like after a film festival, I have about a week of wrapping shit up, and then I
Right.
can like read a book or something.
Yeah.
And now that I have put TVHi on my carousel, I always have work to do. It's kind of funny. I kind of joke with friends. I'm like, I totally fucked up. Like I had this wonderful lifestyle, and now I work as much as the rest of y'all.
I mean, at least it's something you are passionate about, you know, and you enjoy. That's a fun and the whole like the fact that it's based around marijuana is pretty dope. I need to subscribe. I've been meaning to subscribe to see what I mean. I saw on the site like all these cool films that you guys have on there. But what would you say is your what's your favorite or what favorite indie genre do you I'm assuming comedy. You mentioned comedy, so
Yeah, I mean, I love comedy. In fact, I don't normally tell people this, but see, you're the kind of person who's. I actually did stand up in
oh,
in the late '80s, believe it or not, a little
what?
bit, and I
What
really
made you
enjoyed it.
stop?
Believe it or not, it was my lungs because that back then every comedy club was full of smoke because cigarette
Um,
smoke you could smoke indoors, and I
yeah.
would cough for 3 days after every. So I actually did it at a high school talent show and then did it a couple open mics, and like, it was kind of going decently. But anyhow, but you think I love the comedy most, but we have an art house experimental kind of section.
Oh,
I
okay.
love it when shit gets weird. When someone has an idea that's so creative and different and original, it's like to me, weird is the highest compliment. Like if something's really weird, I'm like, oh, that's genius. Like no one else has ever thought of what you just thought of, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of
Wow.
do love those too. And I love the comedy.
Experimental.
And I've learned to love
Experimental.
horror, but
Horror is really hard to execute to make it look really believable and really get those jump scares in or those like the sound effects. Like horror is not easy to produce
you
and
know what I
shoot.
always tell people? I always say that comedy and horror, that's why comedy horror, when there's a horror movie that is also funny, comedy and horror are the two genres in film where the audience's reaction is involuntary. Like a
Yeah.
laugh, you laugh like you don't, a forced laugh is so fake. Like you can't, like if you can't fake a laugh, it's an involuntary reaction. And you can't fake fear. Like
Right.
that's an involuntary reaction. And it feels good, I think, to release those feelings.
Right. To feel
So
it for once, because when else am I gonna feel scared? I mean, I don't really like the feeling of being scared, but to get that feeling out of a film is like, okay, yeah, it's good. I
and the
felt
build up,
it.
right? Like I'm actually our 15-year-old, she loves watching horror movies with me, but like
Mhm.
I get into it. Like half the time I jump, like a jump scare makes me like go ah, and I like flail my arm. And she's like, the movie didn't scare me, you did.
Oh my god. No, I literally would sit there like this. Like sometimes I don't want to hear what's happening when I know something bad's gonna happen. So I'll just peek through my fingers, but I don't want to hear it because I avoid the jump scare. I do not like that feeling. It's
Well,
just
you
so
know it's
cool.
coming when the movie gets real quiet, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when I know it's coming, I try to relax all my muscles so I don't scare the kid.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I just try to relax my body just so like I don't hurt anything or pull like it's so
Right.
funny, but I just you know I get into it, so I really react.
It's
See,
also because
I
we're in
love the
film.
horror stuff.
We're in film too, so we like you kind of don't want to. I mean, maybe covering my ears is a little disrespectful, but I'm scared. But like for the most part, we want to like kind of take it all in and understand. So that's kind of why we like freak out, I guess. You know,
I
we're
think any director of a horror film would be honored to watch you cover your face during their movie because that means they got you, right? That means you got so into it that you needed a break. So I bet
yeah.
that's probably high praise.
Covering my ears, I'm like I can't hear the screeching or anything like that. And the worst part is I hate when it's like something that's not scary. It's just a dog in the alleyway like barking. You're like, oh fuck, oh my god, like why did that make me feel crazy? Well, what would you I love because I love indie, I love alternative genres, things, especially in music, but in comedy as well. Like I work with a lot of alternative indie comics, which were kind of like wallflowers in the industry. You know, you have like those big TikTokers and those guys in the big clubs when it's, well, I mean, I perform at clubs as well, but my humor is just so a little more different than theirs. Like it's just I work with Victor Varnado, and he's done specials with Eric Andre and Hannibal Buress, and when you think of those comedians, they're very weird. They're very like
I mean, you just named my two top. Like
uh,
the Eric Andre show for me is high art.
yeah, it's
I
so
think
crazy.
everyone should run to, I guess it's now called Max, but everyone should watch the Eric Andre show. That's performance art. I mean, I'm
Slapstick. It's a lot
sorry.
of slapstick too. It's
I think he would be annoyed if we ever met, because I'd be telling him, "No, you're an artist, man. You are a genius and an artist, and I take you so seriously. I think you're brilliant." He'd be like, "No, man, I'm just goofing off."
it's either that or he'll like stay in character and make out with you for you saying that or something, you
I'd
know?
be right there with him.
Yeah, no, I appreciate especially indie films. It's just that whole it's I don't want to say I can't think of another word besides I don't is it weary? Is it uncomfortable? Is it like most of those indie films make me feel so like, especially when it's drama, or it's like it's such a weird feeling. I'm like, oh God, why do I feel this way? But it's just so moving that it can do that. Like, I love one of my favorite films is Juno, and it is comedy, but it's also drama, and it's an indie film as well. And it was like that moment of this 16-year-old trying to give her baby away, and the dad, the adopted father, trying to adopt her child, is like flirting with her, you know, and it's like those moments where it's like, oh God, it's so weird, but like
How
it's
how
they make it
how
funny.
how prescient was that movie? Like that Jason Bateman character who totally creeped out. Like
Yeah.
that was at least a decade before Me Too and stuff. And like that movie
Yes.
totally nailed just how creepy and privileged some older white dudes can get. Like
Yeah,
that they
seriously.
will cross any line. They don't think there's any lines that they can't cross. Oh, I forgot about that because I think of the Michael Cera character who's so sweet.
Oh,
I
Polly
forget how
Bleeker.
about the creepy dad.
Yeah, the creepy the guy not really wanting a baby, but like wants his wife to be happy, but then he meets this teenage girl and he misses being young like that, and he gets some sort of he like sexualizes her, and it's so fucking weird, but it's one of my favorite movies and one of my and so is Little Miss Sunshine too. The fact that, I mean, there's going to be spoilers here obviously that we're talking about film, so if you haven't seen Little Miss Sunshine or Juno, I guess don't go too far in this episode. But I mean, those movies came out in like the early 2000s. Like,
Yeah,
fuck, you
shame
should
on
have.
if someone hasn't seen it, you can't spoil it. Like
Right, there's no spoilers
we
here.
could even tell them the ending of Little Miss Sunshine, they'd still enjoy the ride. Like that
Right.
is
That
so.
that's one of my favorites too. I love indie comedy, obviously, but it was also a source of drama as well with the family and just her grandpa dying on the way to the pageant, and just like a lot right, it was a grandfather, I believe, and it's just
Yeah.
such darkness. It's like I feel like most indie comedy is dark comedy
Well,
for the
yeah, and
most
the best
part.
comedy comes from the darker side of life and from the, right, it when the comedy, I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber is
Right, no, no,
hilarious.
no.
But comedy is a wonderful human coping mechanism for the stuff that really breaks our hearts.
Yeah, I love the shedding light on darkness. I love that shit.
Yeah. I love the grandpa telling everybody, "You're crazy if you do heroin at your age. You're crazy if you don't do heroin at my
Right.
age."
Such a
There, that was a
clown.
spoiler.
Right, yeah. Now, what's your favorite indie film since you're running this shit?
I of all time or recently?
Both. I guess what's your
Because
favorite of all time? Like or film to date or most
you know
recent
what's
one?
funny is my very first date, and by the way, this is 1984 when I was 16 years old. Uh, a young lady at my high school wanted to go on a date, and I wasn't actually savvy, and I was kind of a doofus. So I was like, okay. And I was like, let's go to this movie. I took her to see The Brother from Another Planet, which was a John Sayles indie film.
But I've
And
heard. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
it's about it's an analogy for the Underground Railroad of, that slaves would escape during slavery in this
Mm.
country. And it's actually an escaped slave from another planet who lands in New York, and he looks human, but he's mute. So every
Oh.
conversation, he's just listening, and people reveal all these interesting things about themselves because they're speaking to someone who doesn't speak. And I loved it, and it's a John Sayles film. He wrote and directed it. So it's super independent and it's super original. And when I saw that at age 16, I was like, oh my God, movies don't have to be Top Gun. Movies can be like a really personal, insightful statement, like something artistic and interesting. And
Right.
I've been ever since. I love a lot of indie films, but like that one was obviously special.
I'm
And of
gonna write
course,
that down.
I was 16 and my date was 15, and she leaned her head on my shoulder, so I was like, hey, this is nice.
You're like, I feel cool right now. She wasn't freaked
In
out by
fact,
the movie.
I think that night I had my first kiss, so of course I love that movie.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a great movie.
the brother from another planet.
From Another Planet.
I love
Yeah,
that.
Joe Morton plays the lead character. He plays the brother. Now, I gotta admit, there will be some things that hold up interestingly, because there's a lot of course, there's characters who are very prejudiced,
Right.
because of course, in 1984 there was, I mean, people are still prejudiced, but there was racism and prejudice that was, so it's an expose of that. So I
Yeah.
guess that would be my warning for people, is like, if you're gonna watch an almost 40-year-old movie, or more than 40-year-old, almost
Eight
40-year-old
1984.
movie.
Yeah, almost 40
My God,
years.
it's going to be
Damn.
40 years next year. But like, it's going to be a little dated.
Yeah. No, but I still appreciate those films because it's kind of also, from what I can see and the name of it itself and the cover of the movie poster, it kind of foreshadows, like, I mean, the brother, and it's, an African American male, and
Yeah.
another planet. Like, you can kind of sense that, oh, there's going to be a little bit of turmoil in this. But it kind of, yeah, it definitely still relates to what's going on today. God, I love film.
It's a cool expression, right? It's such a great form of expression. Like, I always compare it to, right, we're human beings, and human beings live through stories. And like, we used to, for thousands and thousands of years, we used to hunt and gather all day, and then we'd sit around a campfire at night to stay warm, and we'd tell each other stories of our day. And
Right.
like, we don't gather that way anymore, so we watch films. And
Yeah.
that's kind of like our campfire story.
Wow, that's a cool analogy. That yeah. Wow, I didn't even think of it like that.
I mean,
That's so
that's where
true.
I really think it comes from that. Heck, because, well, my other favorite thing in life is, besides watching films at night, is if we can get friends to come over and have a little gathering. Like, I love 6 to 8 people hanging out and conversing with each other and talking about what's going on. Like, if I can't have a campfire, I'll settle for a movie.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love films with friends and having a discussion of what we just witnessed and saw. And then I also do love concerts as well. I'm a big music person,
Me
I
too.
love the
Oh, I
fact
love
that
music.
a big group of people, like, we all have this one thing in common, is we love this band we're watching or this DJ, and it's just so cool to be a part of that. I'm definitely a big concert goer as well.
Absolutely. Well, I don't go as much, but I go to key bands still. But I went to many back in the day. I
Mm.
was my little brag is I went to the first 3 Lollapaloozas.
Wait, is Lala's in is that in Chicago? Where's that?
It
Lollapalooza.
toured. It toured. It would tour around.
Oh, they tour. Okay,
But
gotcha.
I think it was
I'm thinking
earlier mid.
Bonnaroo.
Oh, Bonnaroo, yeah. Yeah, no, Lollapalooza was like a tour, but it was like the first sort of mega tour, like after there was Woodstock and then the US Festival, then Lollapalooza was,
Oh,
that peripheral of
speaking
Jane's
of
addiction.
speaking of Woodstock, have you seen their documentary? I know it came out a couple months ago. Did
Oh, a
you see?
newer documentary?
Yeah, there was a Woodstock. Let me see what. God, I did not realize in the 90s they had Woodstock again and how insane it was. Like very,
It went
very
nuts.
bad. Like
Yeah.
this
The
documentary
mud.
made it look really like holy shit. There was a lot of negative shit happening there.
A lot of negative. Yeah, the first one was just a freak, right? Like somehow it worked out to be like a lovely, you know, lovely experience for most people. I saw I mean, I'm one of those people who rented the Woodstock documentary that Martin Scorsese made, like the
Oh, okay,
famous
okay.
doc movie, the first one with Hendrix and the Who and
Now you
Crosby's.
need to watch. It's called. It's on. I don't know if it's on Netflix anymore, but it came out last year, in July of 2022. It's called Trainwreck, and it's Woodstock '99.
Woodstock 90. Trainwreck sounds like the right title.
Yeah, that's. I watched that. I was like, holy shit! These people, like, people. I mean, obviously, people are gonna do drugs at these events, but it was just like the organizers lost control of the crowd and just the whole event itself, and people were it was more of like a survival of the fittest.
For sure. But with music, are you like me? Do you prefer like being in a small club with a band you love and like having the intimacy of being like, only 20, 30 feet from the stage? Like I can't get enough of like live music in like a small club.
I definitely do like more intimate, but I also appreciate, I don't know, kind of what comedy. Sorry, I just smoked.
Yeah, she just smoked. I should let you cough while I talk. Because like funny thing is a lot of bands I love are all New York based. Like I love
Mm.
LCD Sound System,
Oh
this band Electric
yeah,
Six. Uh, I've seen some. Man, I
the
saw this band Electric
Strokes.
Six once. Oh, the
Uh-huh.
Strokes. Yeah, I saw. There was a band called the Gay Blades, like just a duo from Brooklyn, and they opened for this band I loved in this small. Well, actually, it was. I think it was the Rainbow Room or something on the Sunset Strip here in LA. And man, so much charisma. I was like, oh my god, this band is amazing. Yeah, I love. I guess if I was true to myself, instead of sitting at home all the time, I would go to like live music a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, you just go stoned. I don't know how. Well, you already said you can't smoke because of your lungs. But uh, edibles. How many? What? I can't even think.
How many
I'm stoned right
milligrams?
now. Yes.
I
How many milligrams are you consuming?
I managed to be. I'm still a lightweight. I'm not sure how, but I love. I get away with like 10 to 15 milligrams, which is normally just like, one gummy. Maybe I'll have
Right.
a one or two. If depending on how much fun I want to have. But
I feel like if I have more than I took 50 from what it was one gummy, it was 50 milligrams. I was underestimating that little guy because it was I just turned 26 in February. I was trying to record a podcast at the time. I bit into that and you just see me progressively getting worse in the video. I'm literally sobbing. I'm overthinking. I feel like my body, like my skin is melting off my body. Like it was just a lot happening and you just see me laid out on the futon. It was just I never again am I going to have a 50 milligram edible ever.
yeah, you got to find your happy. Yeah, you got to work your way up, right? You got to like
Yeah,
try
I feel like I'll
10.
do like
If 10's
10,
not enough, you might want to do 20. I can
10,
handle 20, but
15.
over 20 and then like, yeah. I mean, look, I smoked in college and stuff, and I know what it's like to be like too fucking high. Like I've
Yeah.
had the I was actually one of those dudes in college. Like I would smoke and I like give me I like if I'm gonna get stoned, I wanted to like leave my body.
Right,
And there
yeah.
were times in like, and of course I went to school in Santa Barbara, so like the weather was beautiful. So like I remember once I was like I just went outside and I laid on the grass in front of our apartment, and then like a friend was walking up and I went, hey Amanda, and she's like, how do you know it's me? I go, I'm looking down at you I'm looking at the top of your head because I thought I was floating in the air above her. I don't know, probably wasn't, but
So it wasn't Amanda.
It was
Oh, it
Amanda,
was Amanda.
but it was I probably just like could tell it was her by her footsteps or something. But in my mind, I was floating in the air above my body, looking down on us.
It's some magical
So
shit, I'll tell you. Oh God.
it's it's cool and it's non-toxic. It's not
Yeah.
bad for you.
I yesterday I was it was my father's birthday this past week, and happy belated birthday, Dad. I was with my stepmother's mother. Uh Shout out Elizabeth. She still thinks the weed is like the devil's lettuce. She's like, it's just as bad as alcohol. I mean, like she's a boomer. She's like 70 something. So she's just like, you don't understand. Like, I get it. She's so real. She's like, I am such a different generation from you. Like, I was raised to think that this was such a bad thing that I cannot. She goes, I am too old for that. I cannot. I refuse. I was like, Ibby, your legs are shot. Maybe get a cream, you know? I'm like, you're not eating it. Like, get like a THC cream. She goes, a what? Like, she's like so mind blown by all this. And she's like, no, 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 it's still going in my skin. Like, she refuses. I'm like, okay, keep limping. Like, I'm telling you, this stuff is natural. It's not like, it's not, she swears it's just as bad as alcohol. It's
She
not. It's alcohol.
I was
Alcohol makes you want to go do stupid shit and wrestle people and maybe go behind a wheel. But when it comes to weed, you're not moving anywhere. You're not doing
well,
it.
my mom was like your stepmom, and I remember coming home from college and she said, "Do you ever do that?" And I was like, "Well, let me tell you something. If you're in college and you walk into a room full of drunks and you're not drunk, you got to get out of that room.
Yeah.
Like those people are obnoxious. If you walk into a room of people who are high, they're just listening to music and they're just
Right.
chill. And have you ever been like walking down the street and seen a broken car window and thought, "Oh, that's a stoned person"? No, it's a drunk. Like drunks are destructive.
Right. Yeah.
But I was going to tell you, not that your stepmom will listen to this, but a
Well,
buddy
it's her
of
mom.
mine
It's
is
her
a
mother.
doctor. Buddy of
Uh-huh.
mine's a doctor, and he invited me to a tequila tasting with him and two other doctors. So it's film festival dude,
Dangerous.
film dude, and three doctors, and one of them was a spinal surgeon.
Oh my God.
And I brought up TVHi, and he said, "You know what? As a spinal surgeon, people ask me like, should I drink? Can I smoke?" That he goes, "Okay, if you drink, stop drinking 2 days before your spinal surgery. Stop smoking a week before." He's like, "When I operate on your spine, I can tell if you've had a cigarette because it hurts the tissue so much." And he said, "You know what? You could take an edible. You could get high the night before your surgery. I don't care. It has no effect. There's nothing toxic." And this is a spinal surgeon telling me
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he has no problem at all with what THC does to the body.
Wow. It's natural. I mean, my ancestors smoked that shit. It's a medicine. So I'm just happy of where this country is going along with the marijuana industry. I mean, it sucks that it's more expensive, but at least it's legal and people are not getting arrested for having a dime on them anymore.
And we've got quality control for the first time, right? Like,
Yes, we know how much we're taking. We know exactly what strand we're consuming.
and you're not buying a bag that's half oregano.
Yeah. Yeah, or spice or some crazy shit. Oh my God.
I know
Wow.
it is interesting. It's an interesting time.
It's crazy to think about because just a couple of years ago, I nearly got in trouble with weed, and I'm just grateful. Hopefully, I feel like there's still people in prison that have smoked weed. Hopefully they can figure that out. But,
Yeah, I mean that part is crazy. Isn't it crazy that like the next generation is going to grow up and just they're not going to have the same negative. They're never going to hear the devil's lettuce stuff. They might hear a little bit, but like
Yeah.
it's just going to be a legally controlled substance to them, like
Right.
just like alcohol. Like
Right.
to them, it'll be the equivalent of alcohol. And then they'll talk to enough people like you and I who are like, be careful with the alcohol, but the weed, the worst thing that'll happen to you is you have to go to sleep.
Yeah, right.
Like you have too
That's-
much weed, you just have to sleep. Get too much alcohol, you can end up like with poisoning in the hospital.
Yeah, getting your stomach pumped. Ugh.
I don't know. I am very pro youth. for someone who's mid-50s, like my stepdaughter. One of my favorite things with my stepdaughter is I remember when I thought Hillary was going to be president, but like when Hillary was running for president, she was 7, I think, and I said to her, like, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't even think a woman would ever run for president, and I was like, and Obama was currently president, and I was like, and like when I was your age, we didn't think there'd ever be a black president,
Right.
and she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "That's stupid. There's always been a black president."
Because that's all
like,
she knows.
Right? Like the first president she was aware of was black. And I'm like, this is so beautiful that like to this kid, it's always been assumed.
Yeah.
She's like, anyone who thinks someone who's, I hate the term non-white, but whatever. But to her, yeah, it's not just a white male club. It's just not.
Right.
Like from the beginning. And the first presidential candidate she was aware of was Hillary. Like, so I just love, so, you know, so for her, like, you know, so a kid born today is going to grow up in a world where like weed is probably legal in almost every state, except where you wouldn't
except for like North Dakota or all those other countries. I mean, countries, you hear me? States. But yeah, it's so wild, especially with like gay marriage. I remember when gay marriage was legalized. It was not that long ago. So it's
not that long ago.
It's to that point where they're going to be so like, this is a norm. Like, what are you talking about? How can you be homophobic? You know, which is, how can you?
That's another beautiful thing is, you know, I've got 3 close friends who we grew up and we went to college. One was a college roommate, graduated college, they met women, they married them, they had kids, and then somewhere in the 40s, they came out as gay and got divorced and started living as their true selves. My stepdaughter, when she was in middle school 5 years ago, she had friends who were out.
Yeah, I know, that's
and
so
I was like,
beautiful.
this is so amazing. Like my generation, like you did not let anyone know if you felt that way.
Right.
Couldn't. And now like kids are, I mean, I realize there's still way too much bullying and the world is not even close to perfect. But the fact that there's kids like in school who can be their true selves, I just think it's amazing. I just think it's so beautiful.
I believe in our youth. I believe in my generation, the generation before me. Like they're gonna, God willing, save this planet. Save this planet, please.
You just gotta make it a little. If each generation makes it a little better, eventually we'll get there. You know, as long as we don't let up on the gas. The other side is pushing back a little right now. They got real scared, but you know they're pretty desperate. I'm not too worried.
I believe in us, you know. I at least they're aware that fucking climate change. They don't even want to call it global warming. They're gonna call it climate change because it's crazy. It changes every month. There's something going on. So hopefully,
colder winters, colder, wetter winters, hotter, drier summers. Yeah, it's not just like, oh, it's cold today, so there can't be global warming. I'm like, oh, shut up.
Right. No, stop. Can't you tell it's just so different now, the weather and everything. But oh my God, Jeff, like thank you so much for coming on here with me. We have such great banter and conversation. I love your TVHi. Please guys subscribe to his that live streaming platform and check his shit out, or check all those filmmakers shit out, and smoke or eat an edible while you're doing
enjoy
that.
it. There's you do the 1 week free trial. Damn, can I remember the code? There's a
if you we're out here channel that
let me see if I can. Do you want to pause? But there's a code I can give that'll give a free month free, like the first month free instead of just a week.
Oh hell yeah!
But
I mean,
we did it for 420. I'm forgetting. It's 420 something.
I mean, if you want, you could just text me it, and I'll just plop it somewhere here.
Yeah, people should. And if you like it weird, we got people gotta watch the weird section.
The art.
Actually, I plan to do a
house.
playlist sometime. And if you watch stuff on there, Amanda, you can just you can send me a list of your favorites, and we'll make it like Amanda's playlist.
Hell yeah, I'd love that. Send me that passcode. I mean, I'd love to subscribe and pay the $5.20 anyway. 420, that's so great.
Right? I was thinking, like, if you ever do check your credit card statement when you see like TVHi 420,
Yeah.
like that's a bill I want to pay.
Right. That's beautiful. Like, when are you ever going to see that? God. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. It was a
Thanks for
pleasure.
having me.
It was so great. I feel like this hour went by so freaking fast. It's wild. Yeah, please do come back again. I might even hit you up when I'm out in California this
Anytime.
year. Yeah, for sure. And likewise, when you're ever in New York, you, your wife, your kid, you,
Right
whatever,
on.
let me know.
Absolutely. Hey, I do, that Discover Indie Film podcast with filmmakers, but I always do a thing at the end where they do 4 questions. And if you want to hop on and do 4 questions one of these days, it's just name 3 favorite films, an underrated film, an overrated film, and a film almost no one's heard of that you recommend, like a lesser known film. If you wanna hop on, be a guest, I'm happy to have you as a guest.
I love to. I love podcasts. I love the fact that I can do this shit in my own house and
So nice.
have fun with it. I love it. Thanks again.
And you got the cats right there.
Hell yeah. Where? Well, they're trying to get into the room. They keep scratching at the door, but thank God no one can hear because it's all my mic is.
Yeah, you got your mic set up right.
Right. Well, thank you guys for listening or watching. If you're watching this, it's going to be on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. God, I'm so stoned right now, and it feels so freaking good.
I'm jealous. I gotta go. My nightly edibles coming up soon.
Oh
and
yeah.
It's watchtvhi.com. Just watchtvhi.com. It's $4.20 a month if you sign up through that. If you sign up through like the app stores, they make us charge $4.99. They don't get the $4.20 coolness.
They're like, nah, we're gonna tax your ass.
Allow it. They don't allow it. So you got to go to watchtvhi.com if you want the $4.20 a month deal.
You heard it here, folks. Go ahead and do that. All right. Thanks again, Jeff. I'm out.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Peace.